Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. PSTEB boss says interim order for paying all traffic tickets at court should end by midweek. Head of the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, PSTEB Assistant Commissioner of Police Gary McKenzie, says the interim order for paying all traffic tickets at the court should end by midweek. Since the imposition of the temporary measure, members of the public have been complaining of chaos in paying at the traffic court. However, ACP McKenzie disagrees. He admitted that some persons may have missed the date to pay their tickets because of the interim measures.
Last month, Tax Administration of Jamaica TAJ announced that persons should pay their traffic tickets at the court on a temporary basis. Since then, members of the public are saying this has been difficult. ACP McKenzie says things should change this week.
You know, that would have been a temporary thing. We expect that based on all the reports, and I have had an update up to since morning, that, you know, by now and midweek, that, there should be smoothness in terms of being able to pay at the collectorate. Unfortunately, some persons who would have wanted to pay, because of the systematic delay, they were not able to pay at the tax office, and so they would have had to attend court.
He explained that PSTEB is aware of the glitches. However, McKenzie says there's no chaos.
I don't know of any chaos being at the court. I know that there were glitches in relation to the payments, and so some persons did not get the option to pay, and so they have to attend court.
The head of PSTEB noted that traffic offense codes are still being updated.
Because of the injunction, there has to be some recalibration of the system because there had to be a changeover of the code. That did not go as smoothly or as fast as it would probably should have been done. And so some persons who would have been issued traffic tickets because of the changeover of the system, the final date of payment would have arrived and they were not able to pay at the tax office.
Tourism Minister calls for more attention to be given to small and medium players in the industry. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says more attention needs to be given to the small and medium players in the industry as they continue to benefit from the lease from profit made. He was speaking at the Global Citizen Forum panel discussion on cross-borders collaboration. Mr. Bartlett noted that majority of the tourism industry's recovery is down to the small operators.
The greatest agent for the transfer of wealth from the rich to the poor is tourism. Because as the plane flies, it brings wealth and is converted immediately. And as the cruise ship comes into the port, a similar thing happens. And it gets into the pockets of the ordinary man, which is very important. Because 80% of the values of the experiences of tourism are driven by the small and medium players. The unfortunate reality there is that only 20% of the returns from tourism go to that smaller group. There needs to be a rebalancing of that situation. Small countries like Jamaica and other countries that are highly tourism dependent find that this is the moment when we can help to reset and rebalance that situation. The good news is that the traffic has been moving in our area. And in our case in Jamaica, we have had a recovery of some 70% of the 2019 figures, primarily because of our proximity to the richest market in the world, the United States, and the fact that cross-border activities in a lot of cases have been influenced by closures.
Western Jamaica hospitals prepare for onset of COVID-19 fourth wave. Hospitals in Western Jamaica are ramping up preparations for the onset of a fourth wave of COVID-19 in Jamaica. The preparations come as countries across the world are tackling a sharp rise in infections arising from the new Omicron variant of the virus. Jamaica yesterday began its vaccination booster program for persons who received the one-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Persons 60 years and older, healthcare workers, and those who compromise immune system are all clear to receive a booster. As the health ministry moves to strengthen the immune response in certain populations, hospitals in the West are now in heightened preparation mode for any eventuality.
Western Jamaica was particularly hard hit by the third wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. Hospitals in the West, mainly in Westmoreland, came under tremendous strain amid bed space and oxygen shortages. This time, the Western facilities say they're better prepared. Dr. Delroy Frey is clinical coordinator at the Cornwall Regional Hospital.
We are experts at dealing with it because the third wave teaches us a lot. So one of the issues we had was, bed space and supplies. So in preparation for what might be, in fact, disastrous might be for our fourth wave, we have placed all those things in place as it relates to supplies. Bed space is there already, and we don't have a problem with where oxygen is concerned because the third wave had allowed us to deal with that situation. So our hospitals should be okay should the fourth wave come through.
Health officials are on high alert for the arrival of the highly transmissible Omicron variant on the island, with Director of Family Health Services Dr. Melody Ennis saying it's now a situation of when, not if, the variant arrives. Trinidad and Tobago this morning confirmed its first case of the variant. Dr. Frey says as hospitals in the West prepare for the fourth wave and the possible arrival of Omicron, his only concern is staffing at the facilities.
One issue is staffing as it relates to nursing and doctors, but we have dedicated teams that look after COVID patients. And what we do, we have to watch for staff burnout. So what we do, we rotate them and co-opt staff from other departments should the need arise, and that's how we deal with it.
The clinical coordinator is appealing to Jamaicans to ensure that during the relaxation of the measures for the festive season, they remain vigilant and observe the existing protocols.
Cannot be complacent as it regards to the measures. If you want to mitigate against a fourth wave, one of the most important things you have to do, all the measures must be maintained. And one important aspect of the measure is, and I hope by this stage people are getting the message, is that they should take the vaccine, and those who require booster should take the booster. So we are making sure that our frontline workers starting today takes the booster.
Klansman Trial. Presiding judge approves subpoena for telecoms company Digicel to provide cell phone data records. The presiding judge in the Klansman gang trial has approved a subpoena to be served on the officials of telecommunications company Digicel to provide cell phone data records. The records are of conversations between a former gang member, who now the state's second witness in the trial, and several alleged gang members. Among the alleged gang members in on the conversations is the leader of the One Don faction of the gang, Andre Blackman Bryan. The court also heard yesterday how officers of the Constabulary Corporate Communications Unit detained several alleged members of the criminal organization.
The prosecution had already received the cell phone records from Flo and was expecting to receive the data records from Digicel by Friday. This morning, the prosecution indicated it's taking steps to have Digicel subpoenaed to present the data, as the company was not complying with its request. By the end of today's court session, the presiding judge, Chief Justice Brian Sykes, had authorized that move. Today, the prosecution also called another police witness to the stand, a detective inspector who headed the gang team at CTOC. He outlined how, on March 4, 2018, his team arrested Brian at his apartment on Shortwood Road in St. Andrew. The witness says he told Brian he was suspected for leading a criminal organization and recruiting gang members. He says Brian's brother Kevon Green, his mother, and a woman who was identified as Green's common-law wife were also arrested for suspicion of similar offenses. He says Brian said nothing when he was cautioned by the police and detained. He says Brian, Tesha Miller, and others were being investigated from as far back as 2015 for gang involvement. According to the detective inspector, the police had interest in some 50 suspects, but he says more materials have been added to that probe and other investigators assigned. He also detailed how the police detained the accused, Jermaine Robinson, while he was on duty at the Jamaica Defense Forces Up Park Camp on July 22, 2019. Robinson was a member of the JDF at the time, attached to the engineering regiment of the force. The witness says the officers went and spoke with Mr. Robinson. before returning with a search warrant under the Firearms Act. The witness says Robinson was cautioned and told he was suspected for involvement in a gang. The policeman says Robinson's private quarters at Up Park Camp were searched but yielded nothing illicit. The witness says he requested that Robinson change into civilian clothing and he was taken to the Grand Spend police lockup.
Hall indicates new attacking philosophy for Reggae Boys. Interim head coach of the Reggae Boys, Paul Hall, indicated that he'll be moving away from the defensive philosophy used by former coach Theodore Whitmore for the remaining 6 matches of the CONCACAF World Cup qualifiers. The boys are 6th on the 8-team table with 7 points from 8 matches. Their next match will be against Mexico at the National Stadium on January 27. Hall admits it will be very difficult to change the personality of a team in such a short time, but believes it has to be done to produce right results.
We are looking for results and we're looking to just pick a team and a squad that's going to get us results. However, I do like to press really high. I do like to make sure that the team are attack-minded and we like to pass the ball around, possession-based play. How much of that we can get out in the short term is going to be down to the work that we do beforehand. But tactically, we're looking to press and then counter-press and just hopefully in the 5 phases of the game, try to dominate the opposition. It's the way how you ask the players to play. So you're asking them to play a certain way. We have got players who can receive the ball and keep the ball in those deep lying midfield areas. We've just got to make sure that we create the situations for us to be able to not lose the ball and focus on that and really focus on keeping the ball. The opposition have the answer, don't they? I mean, if they come on a high press, you might have to go around it or you might have to go over it. If they want to keep their team central, you go round the press. And if they go wide, we can go through the press. I really do believe that this group of players can respond to that pressure and really make it difficult for teams to play, especially in Jamaica. We've got 4 out of 6 games at home, and we want to be able to make it a fortress and a difficult place for them to come, like how they make it difficult for us to go there whenever we go to an away ground.
PNP under fire on social media for road tour campaign images showing COVID-19 protocol breaches. General Secretary placed down criticism. The opposition PNP and its General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell have come under fire on social media after Campbell posted an image with a crowd of comrades on the streets in the breach of COVID-19 protocols. Most of those gathered were not wearing masks. The PNP General Secretary used his Twitter account to attach the words "mobilizing the base" as a caption to the image. The photograph was reportedly taken during road tours activity in central Kingston. The activities are being carried out across the island by PNP President Mark Golding in the lead up to local government election, which are due by February next year. Similar criticism have been made over the past few days when the PNP General Secretary posted on social media videos and photographs of Golding, following by a gathering of people at various locations across Jamaica. The PNP president could be seen hugging and greeting some of his followers. Social media users blasted Campbell, who is a medical doctor, for being shameless in posting the images, which showed comrades in breach of social distancing guidelines and not wearing masks. Questions were also raised about potential breaches of the gathering limit. One social media user comment, "Look at the small children who are unvaccinated. There is one mask in this photo." Another Twitter user commented, "Enough arranged but few masks. What kind of doctor this?" One Twitter user also accused Dr. Campbell and the PNP of not expending efforts similar to that which is being used up during its current election campaign to get more Jamaicans vaccinated and protected against COVID-19. The Twitter user remarked, "So why didn't you all do this and get the people them vaccinated?" Another social media user challenged Dr. Campbell and asked, "Are you a real doctor? Aren't you concerned about the spread of COVID? I guess. Anything that will lead us or cause us to be in government." Some social media users also tried sections of civil society for what they describe as turning a blind eye to clear breaches of COVID protocols during the PNP President Road Tour. The PNP General Secretary moved to play down the criticism when contacted by reporters. Dr. Dayton Campbell says the PNP did not mobilize the people, but the gathering took place because the PNP President was walking in the area.
We did not mobilize people to come there in terms of transporting them to come there. The leader is walking in a community and persons are excited to see him and they come out. What we've been trying to do is to encourage them to wear their mask and to get vaccinated. So he's on a listening tour, but I wouldn't say to post the reception that he receives is irresponsible. I wouldn't say that at all.
Are you guys actually walking with masks? Because only a few people are
Yes,
wearing.
and we give them out freely. Yes, we give them out every day, give them out freely. But you do realize that when you walk in other areas of the country that you will see policemen, we just have to do more with the public education and encourage them to wear their mask. We're mobilizing the base, meaning that he's on the ground touching base with people. But we're not paying people to come out or paying transportation to bring them out. That's not what we're doing. We're just going into areas to listen to what's going on with the people. The Prime Minister said that he's not calling any election, so we are just doing what we can do as a political party. I wouldn't say that we are in any heightened campaign for local government election because he has said he's not calling it and he hasn't called it. So we are pretty much just touching base. The people are really crying out about what's taking place in the country.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.